voted to whatever. So
Sorry, can't talk about
yeah, it happened. Sorry you missed the meeting. I know it affects this board or could, but that's the best practice. Because the last thing you want is everybody out there knowing what happened in an executive session, because then what's the point of having an executive session?
They're gonna know the result because you're gonna tell.
We're not, you're gonna vote on it, but you're not gonna tell the
You're
discussion.
gonna tell the discussion.
Right. Going back to the basketball coach being fired, you're gonna do an open vote, or if you have a executive session in your fair board, you're gonna come out of that executive session and do a public vote. Yes. Yeah, and I see what you're saying, but honestly, those aren't worth the paper they're wrote on. To be very honest with you, I mean, it's not going to hold up. So the best way to do it, the only way in my mind to do it, is follow what statute says and do the sealed minutes. I mean, you have a valid point, but just
just checking what is written here. The top line says what will be voted on. And the bottom says no decisions or votes. So
Okay,
what's the difference there?
okay. So take. Okay, so take this out. Well, take this out right now. What this is talking about is inside executive meeting, inside this session. Okay, so you're in a board meeting. You come to a decision. Okay, no further discussion. Your president is going to say, "Board, we have any other discussion?" No, no other discussion. You're going to come out of executive session. You're going to vote to come out of executive session when you're back in regular meeting. Okay? You're going to say, Madam President, I make the motion that we come out of executive session. Second vote. Okay? At that time, you're going to say, Madam, Mr. President, whoever, I make the motion to fire Brad Raven as the basketball coach or whatever that decision is. You get a second. Then you're doing the vote in open meeting. So really and truly, I probably should put a line through here and make that a separate difference. Because this is talking about no votes or decisions inside the meeting. Yes, sir. Yeah. Any other thoughts, questions, comments on meetings? Items to remember. New business is defined as any matter not known about or which could not have been reasonably perceived prior to the time of posting. You'll have new business listed on your agendas.
Yes.
Okay. Be very, very careful if you use new business. That's absolutely got to be something on there that you did not know would be brought to the attention. So, for example, if I'm on the board and I want to bring under new business that no dogs allowed on the fairgrounds property, would that be an item that could be under new business? No. And the reason that is because I've had that idea in my notion for months or for a while. New business is something of an urgent matter, okay? You're having a meeting tonight, your fair starts tomorrow, the cattle judge called you at 5 o'clock and he's not going to make it because it's whatever. That's a new business. That was unforeseen. You need to make a decision who you're going to get to judge. If it is truly new business, can it be voted on? Yes. There can be action taken on new business. Continue to reconvene meeting is not a new meeting. Okay? You guys ever use that? You ever step away from your meeting? I don't see it happen very often, but you can. Just know that if you reconvene, if you take a break and you reconvene, you have to follow what's on that agenda, and you cannot vary from that. Does not qualify or state as a new meeting. Agendas properly worded is the key to inform the citizen. Crafting the agenda. Who creates your agenda for you in your meetings or in your meetings? Both of you? Okay. What about you guys? You do, as the secretary or the president? Excuse me. Okay. And that is absolutely the way you guys are doing it is fine. Absolutely, the president can do that. Is the president the only one that can put an item on the agenda? Okay. Who else can put an item on the agenda? Another board member. Okay. If I'm not a board member and I come up to you and I say, I want on your board meeting for next week to talk about holding a rabbit show. Can you put me on the agenda?
Sure.
Okay. Can I go ask another member to be put on the agenda? Another board member. Yes. Yeah. What I'm trying to hammer here is that other board members can also do that. Now, the president can decline that if they want. If we have an item that has been talked about for the last 6 meetings, and I'm exaggerating that number, and it's just going to be the same old thing, that's your discretion. Okay?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What if somebody just wants to be put on your agenda and you don't want to listen to them talk? You have to give them time.
Brad, great point. So here's how I would suggest that we do this, okay? And I've not seen your agenda. I've not seen anybody's agenda in here. How does your agenda read now? Does somebody have an agenda for one of your meetings? If I show up in the meeting, he said if some idiot, so that'll work for me. If I show up in the meeting and I just want to talk and talk and talk, do I have the right to do that as a citizen?
No, we need to have the limit.
Yep, that's exactly right. So here's what I would suggest that you do for every agenda that you have, and you make it consistent. At the top of your agenda, or wherever you want to put it, you put it at the bottom, but you have public comments. Okay? You can leave it open if you want to, but why you would do that is beyond me. Because just like Brad's saying, if that idiot stands up there and talks for 15 minutes, you've got to let the next idiot stand up there and talk for the next 15 minutes. 3 minutes. So here's what I suggest that we do for all our minutes, or all our agendas. Public comment. Limit to 3 minutes. And underneath that, subject to the items on the agenda. That keeps Brad from coming to every meeting talking about the same old thing that he's talked about for the last 7 meetings. Okay? It's very, very important that if you're not already doing that, when you start it, you make sure you're very consistent with it every time.
We had to do that. We
Yep.
had to do that in our commissioner meeting. And it was important.
Yep.
Just
Because if you don't, number one, does the public have a right to interrupt your meeting?
No.
They do not. They do not have a right to interrupt your meeting. They don't have the right, and my mother argues with me all the time, so I don't even bring it up. They don't have the right to even say anything in your meetings, to be very honest with you. That's your meeting to run. There's ways for them to do that, and that's that public comment. But be very, very sure that you limit that to 3 minutes. 3 minutes is kind of common. There are some that do it for 5. But, so, okay, with that said,
That's 2 minutes of your life you won't get back to.
I would agree. So with that said, I come to public comments. I'm talking about the agenda item, okay? I get very, very upset. I'm very, very passionate. You and I have had trouble for a long time. She's the president of the board. And I know you're the reason that this isn't passed because you don't want it to pass. And I call you everything except a. I am not heard. I have not been to your meetings. I have not talked to anybody, I promise. I promise I'm not. But I call you everything except a nice lady. Okay. Does she as the president have the right to say order, and you're not gonna talk like that, get your hiney out of here? She's talking to me.
Oh, yes, she does.
Absolutely she does, and that's her job.
So let me ask this,
Yes, ma'am.
it's during a board meeting, it's not a public comment session, but it's a board member talking to the president that way.
You have the right as a president to keep control of that meeting. And if that's removing that board member, then that's what you gotta do. Because as the president, you're the presiding officer, and you have the responsibility to maintain control of that meeting. Now, with all that said, we're all human, and we know emotions and all that gets in there. But yes, as the president, you have the authority to do that.
And public comment isn't public dialogue or public discussion.
That's where I was.
So as a board member, they can say all they want. I just sat on some boards in the city of Bartlesville, and a guy came into the golf course, the Adams golf course, and he started getting, and next thing you know, the president, they're having a 25-minute conversation. And the rest of it, and he's the president, so you can't tell the president. It's not meant to dialogue, it's meant to listen.
And that's really where I was headed with this conversation. As I'm telling her the right act, she has to sit there and take it. Now, she doesn't have to take it, or you don't have to take it as the president if I get belligerent. But for that 3 minutes, the board has to sit there and take that and should not have interaction. And that's hard to do. That's really hard to do. How are you conducting your meetings right now? Is the style working for you? And if it is, make sure you're consistent. Supporting documents for your agenda. Who prepares it? We've talked about that a little bit. Who distributes it? Is that your secretary that's distributing that?
As far as.
Right, yeah, okay. So, sorry. Got another minute?
I don't.
You don't? Okay. That's fine. So when we talk about, you're fine, man. It's okay. I'm fine. Oh, yeah, that'd be great. So when we talk about agendas, who does an agenda packet or a meeting packet? Thank you, sir. Thank you. Does anybody do a packet where they prepare it a week in advance or 2 or 3 days in advance and then distribute it?
Our planning zone does.
Planning and zoning does? Is that packet open to open meetings? Absolutely. If you're doing the packet, be very, very cautious about doing that. How many of you are getting the agenda or seeing the agenda and an item is listed that is of great concern and you're sending a text to board members asking their thoughts on that agenda item? Thank you. Don't do that. Try to have very limited, if any, text at all. You can gather if you're going to have a quorum. If you're going to meet tonight and you want to see if you're going to have a quorum, Madam President, you can send out a text at 9 o'clock in the morning. Who's going to be able to attend? Don't go any further than that. Because when that happens, your device becomes open record, or open meeting, or open record. Okay? And I'm sorry, I've got this candy in my mouth. I never do that, but I'm losing my voice for some reason. Reread your agendas. And I always say, would my grandmother be able to understand what is on your agenda? Okay? Make it really, really simple on your agenda. How does your agenda read? If you've got item A, B, C, and D, item 1 is to purchase new pins for a barn. How is that listed? How does that read? How does that item read? Does it read purchase of pins for the show barn? Or does it read possible discussion and action of a purchase of pins for the show barn?
Second way.
The second way is the way it needs to be being written. You've got to let the public know that you're going to have discussion and possible action on it. If you just have purchase of pins for the fair barn, by open meeting, you cannot take action on that item. Very, very important on how that is drafted. Every year, the Attorney General office goes around the state and holds an open meeting and open records. It's about 3 hours of an evening. I know you all want to set it in another meeting. I get that. They do a really, really good job with that. Open meetings is becoming very, very important in our public bodies, guys. You read about it, and maybe I read about it more because now I see it more. I'm more involved in it, but we have violations of open meetings all the time. I highly encourage you to take this class, free of charge. Joey Sinnott was a professor on campus. He's retired this last year. He teaches for the county training program. He does a 3-hour open meeting, open records. Open meeting of a morning, open records of an afternoon. We've got one coming up in Guthrie, but he'll also do a couple via Zoom. If you have any questions, concerns, I highly encourage you to take this class, especially the open meetings class. I think everybody that works for the county, elected official wise, and I know Shauna has, and some of you may have taken his open meetings, open records. This guy's sharp with it. And I wish I'd have taken it when I was a commissioner. I'll just be honest. Guys, we have talked a lot about the open meetings and agendas and writing those. I think it's really, really important. What questions, comments, concerns do you guys have about those? what, if anything, did I tell you tonight about open meetings, open records, that you did not know? It was like, oh, wow, that's something,
All the three members from the district.
okay?
And I didn't know about possibly removing somebody from an event. But I can see if they were being destructive or disruptive,
From the meeting?
well, like a child. I can see someone in a meeting, yeah, I've seen that before.
Okay, so help me from a
But
child.
If you're having a meeting, like the child doesn't qualify or they're animal.
Oh, the executive session.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, yeah.
We've had a student with Coffeyville, their parent is terminal. They're taking that one day, and they're gonna show it in our county.
Everything.
That kid is supposed to die. And they're gonna show it in our county, and we didn't allow it to do that, because that pig was, that was supposed to be final show, it didn't matter if it didn't sell. They were still showing this pig. It was too much of a gray area.
Right. Anybody else? What did you say, Steve, about open records?
I just said that everything you have in your meeting is, I mean,
It's
is subject to
open.
open record. I mean,
Yep.
they can request any document, anything that you have, anything that you've done, and you have to give it, whether you want to or not.
Absolutely. Guys, we've talked about funding just a little bit. Every county is different, okay? Here again, I've got these up here. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time unless y'all have questions or want to about these, because I don't know of any county now that is actually doing these mills, that's funding their county fair boards by the mill. And that's, when I talk about mill, I'm just talking about ad valorem, getting part of the ad valorem money, okay? You guys are getting that out of the general revenue fund, okay? Which really and truly is the ad valorem, for the most part. But there's statute in here that says, 1 mill, with population of less than 15,000. Well, that would be like 40 some counties if that was actually happening. When I talked about those statutes needing updated, this is where it all needs updated at. But I do want to bring these to your attention. The sources of revenue, we talked about that tonight. Sales tax. Help me refresh my memory. Did we have any county that was getting sales tax? We have one, right? You guys, Pawnee County is, okay? That was passed by the right? Sales tax?
Yes.
Yep, okay.
Hopefully again this fall.
Hopefully again this fall. When you do a sales tax, it's got to be passed by the majority of the voters in your county, okay? The way that looks in a lot of counties is there's several entities that receive part of that sales tax money. The commissioners, when they go out for a vote, they set up that Pawnee County Fair Board will get whatever percent of that sales tax. What other entities are out there will get this, and this, okay? That's set up by the commissioners and voted on by the people. We've talked about the concessions and rentals. You guys absolutely can do that. Some places that generates quite a lot of money for the fair board. Or in you guys' case, it sounds like the county. Talking about ad valorem, because I know that this is happening. You guys have got to submit your estimate of needs to the county commissioners, and then they present it to the excise board for their final approval. Budget boards, I don't think we've got, you guys are a budget board, I think. Yeah, but budget board, which is a total different setup, and we won't, especially since you guys, your money is, we're not gonna get into that, but you guys are a budget board. A budget board is just simply, instead of every county in here except Washington County, your commissioners are making those decisions for the most part. In a budget board county, all 8 elected officials control the money, if you will. They're all sitting around the table having these discussions in their budget meetings, where you guys are meeting individually with the entities, the county entities. So. Needs to be done, this week, the 1162, the estimate of needs to be filled out by July 1 and turned in. Daily deposits to the county treasurer, if that's where your money is going, which in tonight's conversations, that's where that is headed. So if you have a deposit, Kelly, you're turning yours in, you're taking your deposits in daily, I hope, to the county treasurer's office, or when you're receiving that money. We all know this, but I'm going to say it anyway. You cannot expend funds until it's been approved. The County Purchasing Act. Who in here, my friends over here in the corner, or in the middle table, they won't, because they don't expend the money, because the commissioners do that for you. The others, who is following the County Purchasing Act? Do what? Trying to. Okay. Absolutely trying to. Because you guys fall under the county umbrella and you're expending county funds, state statute says you shall follow Title 19, 1500 through 1507. I'm going to pick on Christina because she's in here. Okay? Sorry, you showed up. She didn't make these rules. Tammy is your clerk, correct? Tammy didn't make those rules. Went blank on yours. Chris did not make those rules. Your county clerk did not make these purchasing laws. They're just doing what Title 19, 1500 through 1507 tell them to do. Okay? Is it a pain in the butt sometimes? Absolutely, it's a pain in the butt. But what is it? What has the last 2 hours and 15 minutes been about? To be honest, what's this whole thing been about? Huh? Dealing with the county.
Pains in the butt.
Well, pains in the butt. Accountability of taxpayer money.
Following the rules.
Following the rules. But what does it all come down to? Protecting our own backside, right? Really? That's right. Really and truly, that's what this comes down to, guys. And that's what this is. This is what the County Purchasing Act is doing. So when Christy and her ladies in her office, the purchasing agent, is all over you because something wasn't done right, it's not because she doesn't like you or she's mad at you. Well, it might be, but no, it's not. I'm kidding. Yeah. It's because statute says that. And I get calls all the time that, well, the clerk or the commissioner, they just don't like me. They're being mean to me. They want me to do this. They want me to follow that. They're doing that because statute tells them. And I told you when we started tonight that most of this class was going to be based off of statutes. Okay? The Fair Association should mirror the county's purchasing law. Everybody, and yes, we're talking about fair boards, but if the library board, if you have a county library board and I was presenting this to them, I tell them the same thing. County purchasing manager appoint a requesting and receiving officer. That looks different of who that is. So who is your requesting officer in your county? For the fair board,
Our street commissioner.
okay? Who's the receiving officer? Yourself and Karen, okay? Does Kelly not have a role in that since she's out here? You're here? Okay, okay. What about you guys? Well, you guys don't have any. Well, you do, but it's on the county level. What about you? Do you know for sure?
I think our receiving officers is two board members. I think our requesting ones are president, vice president.
Okay. Yeah. You probably also have a requesting officer, maybe an elected official, maybe, or a receiving officer, because they're up there. Really, really important, guys. The request, $2,500. Excuse me,
1,000.
25,000. It's changed about 3 times since late. 25,000. If you guys are going to expend more than $25,000, it's got to go out for bids. Doesn't happen a lot, but it does in some counties. Okay, that they might want to buy. I mean, if we've got counties that their fairgrounds or their fair board owns the tractor. That's going to be something they've got to go out for bids on.
We were told we were told
10,000. Okay. So your county policy that you got to go out for bids on, or that you got to get the commissioner's approval on? Oh, well, going out for bids is 25,000. That's the state statute.
No, 10,000 is what we have to do. Is what we were told.
So that's what your county is saying?
Or is that 2,500?
They're wrong. Everyone's wrong. So you got to do some homework with some of these counties.
So, okay. So your county, and this is their county policy, is saying that you're going out for bids at anything over $2,500.
That's what we were probably all got in the last year.
Okay.
I think that was from.
Yours is 10,000, and that is a county policy that is set. Okay.
They can be tighter. They just can't be looser.
Statute says that anything over 2,500. Your DA, your commissioners may say 10,000. And if that's their policy, that's covering your rear and theirs too. State statute says 25,000. I know of counties that say if you're going to spend over $5,000 or $10,000, bring it to this board, being the commissioners first. Okay? That to me, that's just good. That's just good practice as a board.
You can be tighter. You
Right.
just can't be looser.
That's
You can't
right.
just make it 30,000
Yeah.
arbitrarily. You can make it less than.
That's right. Nobody's going to say anything if you're bidding it at 10,000. If you're bidding it at 30, if you're not bidding it at 30, they're definitely going to say something.
Then you're in violation.
Got questions, or you're excited for $1,000? Wow. So the other part of that, encumber. Before you purchase anything, make sure you have a purchase order. And this is talking about purchase orders and documentation. I'm going to tell you that it's for everything. Document, and then document it again. You cannot have enough documentation. Inventory. Any item that you have or that you purchase that's over $2,500 has to be on the county inventory. Excuse me, I'm going out on a limb here, but I'm guessing that Kelly probably has things over here in her programs that is over $2,500 that she has on inventory. Okay? That's consumable or fixed. Okay? If it is on your inventory, you can get rid of it. But there's a process to do that. You have to dispose of that inventory, and that has to go through the Board of County Commissioners. You can go out for sealed bids, you can take it to an auction, or you can give it or sell it to a political subdivision. Only after it's been disposed of correctly through the Board of County Commissioners and taken off the inventory list. We covered purchasing and funding really, really quick because it varies, as you can tell, all over the board. I say in every class I do, there's 77 counties and about 77 different ways that we do some of this stuff. But the end results need to be following state statute. Guys, we went over a lot of information in 2.5 hours. What questions, thoughts, concerns do you have? Yes, sir.
So from your experience, what would be an average annual operating budget of 77 business facilities across the 77? What's the average airport operating budget?
It varies, and the reason it varies is because some sales tax, a lot of our fair boards are operating off of sales tax. And depending on the county, that can be hundreds of thousands of dollars that is given, okay? So I've seen anywhere from hundreds of thousands, all the way down to 5,000. And anything in between that. It truly depends on the funding source. I know your two commissioners, two of your commissioners pretty well, and they'll kick me in the shins when I say this. But if there is some way that you guys have a sales tax, and I know you have a sales tax, and if there is any way possible that you guys could get on that, it would help you out tremendously.
We would want to get a better exposition.
That's what I would suggest. And that takes a vote of the people. And that takes selling it to the vote of the people. But by doing that, you're giving the citizens the opportunity. Honestly, in this case, they don't have a say in it, to be very frank with you. So I encourage the sales tax if you can get that. What else we got?
Thank you very much. Very informative.
Thank you. The sign-in sheet, where did that end up? Okay, very good. Did everybody sign the sign-in sheet? You can if you want to. It's up to you. Okay. Guys, that's all I've got. I hope that this was informative. One other thing, it's not all I've got. One other thing. We talked about the commissioners being the getting the rap, not the commissioners, the clerk getting the bad rap sometime. Okay? All the time. Okay? Some of the time. Okay? Go back to the beginning of the meeting at 6 o'clock. When you walk out of this door, remember that stool that I was talking about, okay? The commissioners don't have all the money in the world. They wish they did, and you all wish they did, but they don't, okay? Remember that school. Remember that if one of those legs is wobbly or cracked or broken, this whole thing falls down, okay? That's what I want to leave you with tonight, is that right there. I'll be here for a little while if you have any questions or anything.